What's going on, everyone? It's Justin here, and today we're checking out the Rivian R1T. This is something I've wanted to drive for quite a few years now, ever since seeing the initial concepts to their demonstrations, and finally now having the opportunity to bring it on a road trip for a few days. So behind me, this is the vehicle that we're going to be talking about in today's video from a tech standpoint, hardware, drive experience, and just how this whole ecosystem has been developed. And as someone who hasn't really experienced driving a truck before, I was particularly also interested in the Rivian R1S, and I've actually joined the pre-order list because it is a car that just has so much space to it. It's built on the same platform as the R1T truck, but it also has all of the amazing interior features, and you're going to notice that as we walk around the car right now, but also show you guys the interior design and tech features as well before taking it on the road and going on a driving experience. I want to give a huge thanks to Turo for sponsoring this video because I've actually never driven this car before, and I was able to book it for a few days, take it on a road trip, and see what it is really like. And so whether you're curious about the Rivian R1T or you want to experience it for yourself and decide if it is a vehicle that you might want to consider as your next one, Turo is an amazing way to be able to book a car anywhere you are, and we've done that on some of the past trips as well. So let's just go ahead and walk around the exterior before we hop in and show you guys the inside. So beginning with the front, I honestly think it looks absolutely incredible. It is really something out of the future, and what you're going to notice about this truck in particular is that it has a very unibody design. A very minimalistic logo with the yellow accents, but throughout it, you have this light bar that really embraces the design feature that you see on a lot of electric cars. This singularity of these LED lights signal that it is an EV because there's obviously no grille or no grille needed on there. And so I think this front light bar looks amazing, and these two main headlights here also look unique. And it's just a very simplistic and minimal design without trying to look too aggressive, but the car definitely has a presence where everywhere it goes, you start to get a lot of looks towards it. Of course, what's great about a lot of electric cars is that you can also utilize the front as an additional storage space, and this one is no exception. It's really easy to be able to just access everything and grab it, and I think they've utilized this very well. I always have some complaints whenever manufacturers in the electric car space don't utilize the front as additional storage. So when it comes to charging the vehicle, in just 20 minutes, you're able to get about 140 miles of range. And depending on the model that you get, whether it is the dual motor plus, or the quad motor, your range is going to vary, but the models can go up to about 410 miles in range. And the quad motor option, which is the one that we have right here, which provides the most power and a 0 to 60 speed of about 3.6 seconds. It's able to give you about a 328 mile maximum range, 835 horsepower, and 908 pound-feet of torque. When it comes to the charging point, I think the design is also very clever. It's well integrated into the front here, which is nice. You just go ahead and press that. It rotates upwards, and you go ahead and plug in your charging platform that is compatible. And when you're done, just press that, and you don't have to play with any switch or press onto the body of the car. I think it is very well integrated. As we make our way throughout the side, you have a few wheel options as well with the yellow trim, and that is the secondary accent color of the Rivian. What you're also going to see is the cameras are very hidden along the side wheel wells. And as you move back here, you're also going to find it on there, and it gives you that whole 360 view, but also the driver plus, which is the assistance, the lane departure, and all these features that you do expect out of a modern day vehicle. There is 2 rows of seating in the vehicle, of course, and as you make your way here, there's actually a really cool compartment, which allows you to store equipment or any cargo for quick access that actually channels all the way through to the back of the truck. So instead of having to hop into the truck bed for everything, you can just go ahead and take your stuff in and out here, and you can also sit or also use it as a step to the back. But there's also all the accessories that you guys have been seeing online that allow you to set up like a barbecue or a camping function, for example, and that is awesome. So I really like this feature of being able to have some stuff on the side, and of course there's the 4.5-foot truck bed. Once again, there's so many accessories you can go ahead and pick. The tent is a really cool one, but I think the first-party ecosystem for a company that is relatively new to the electric car space is really how they've won over a lot of very loyal fans, and through that, they've also achieved amazing service as well. So as you take a look at the back of the truck, you can see the singular light bar wraps around as well. Again, the electric vehicle minimalism. But what I also really liked is when I went ahead and plugged in the vehicle for charging, it would actually indicate red or green. And when it's charging, it will show that through here. So when you have it parked at the end of the day, you're able to get that indicator light. And so that multi-function feature that has been integrated into the simplistic design are small touches of details that you're gonna notice in the interior as well. From a hardware standpoint, Rivian has really done an amazing job, and I think it's just gonna keep getting better. The production times are continuing to improve. I've been on the waitlist for quite a while now, but I'm honestly still trying to decide whether or not it is a vehicle that would make sense as a company vehicle as we drive it around for the next few days. But before I talk about the driving experience, I want to give a huge thanks to the sponsor of this video, Turo. This is a company that I love working with because we've actually been Turo customers for many years now. And whenever I travel, I try to see if I can book a car of my choice. And in this case, being a tech lover and as someone who's reviewed a lot of electric cars, the Rivian R1T is a vehicle that I've been so curious about for many years now, and this review would not have been possible without Turo. We went ahead and booked it for a few days for this amazing road trip, and being able to see parts of BC that I haven't seen before has been a lot of fun. And Turo prides itself in being fast and easy as well as convenient to be able to book a vehicle, pick it up for yourself, or even have it dropped off wherever you are. And the options of vehicles are limitless. Just go ahead and type in the location, the date that you would like it, and it will show all of the options available. And from there, you're able to pick the perfect car for your road trip, whether it is with friends, family, for work, or even you just want to go on a cruise on your own. Driving is really the best way to explore the new city and new foods. And as people who travel a lot and film a lot, Turo makes it a lot of fun. Beyond booking vehicles for my own road trips, I'm also a host on Turo as well, because I have our company car, the Audi Q8, listed on Turo at the moment. And whenever I'm away for a couple weeks at a time on a work trip, for example, having a car like that just sitting in the garage doesn't always make the most sense. And so I'm actually able to generate some revenue to cover the costs of the vehicle while I'm away using Turo. All the insurance and everything was very easy to set up. I just took some photos and uploaded it. And from there, the booking process is super easy. And we've actually received some bookings already. So if you want to rent your primary vehicle or a spare one, Turo makes it very easy. And I always choose to rent a car whenever I can. Whether we're in Miami for Formula One, Las Vegas recently, I wanted to do a road trip to the Grand Canyon in January, but also in Europe. We rented a car in London and drove out to the White Cliffs. So we also did a road trip to California a couple months ago that was a Mercedes vehicle, something that I've driven quite a bit of in the last year with our partnership with Mercedes and also my personal vehicle. So wherever you are, you can really pick a car that suits what you are feeling. Having a car of your choice is just so much more convenient. And in this case, even though I'm in my hometown, booking a vehicle to go on a winter road trip, such as our road trip to Whistler recently, just makes it a lot more fun and convenient. So if you guys want to go and check out Turo for yourself, I'm going to drop a link down below. So now that we've hit the road, it's time to talk about the driving experience. You have the options between the dual motor all-wheel drive, the performance dual motor all-wheel drive, or the quad motor, which is what we have right here, and it's able to deliver over 800 horsepower equivalent, and it also has a 0 to 60 time of 3 seconds. Honestly though, with a truck or a large SUV, it is quite a heavy vehicle, and a lot of times you don't feel like that instantaneous flying torque that you might feel on an electric sports car. And generally speaking, with a lot of the electric cars that are reviewed this year, it's all felt very similar, with a few exceptions to some very expensive models, such as the Porsche Taycan Turbo. This car though really does deliver an amazing driving experience, and as someone who hasn't driven many trucks, I can see why the electric truck space has become so popular. With a car of this weight, the big questions are, how does it distribute the weight? Is it able to haul and provide that power, and also the range? And we already know the range is quite good. It does vary between the models and performance that you get and the driving modes, which there are many of them. The truck has different ride height options that you can select depending on the different modes, or you can customize it specifically. Even though we are riding relatively high, I find that it still feels very planted, and when you go around sharp corners, you don't feel like it is like trying to carry that weight around. But even between these different modes, it was able to handle the very rough terrain very nicely, and in a smooth terrain, it is a vehicle that you can just daily cruise around and go on a road trip. And that is what it is really made for. And I think it makes sense that in their lineup, they have the R1S and the R1T, as well as some commercial vehicles, because the R1S is more so something that fits what I would need on a day-to-day basis, having a ton of cargo and a lot of seats, but at the same time being able to fold all the seats down and take advantage of that rear space. The steering and handling is also really nice. I think it actually handles better than some of the very expensive sports performance vehicles that I've driven. But one thing that I find is that the regenerative braking is very aggressive, and I would have liked to have seen more customizability in that aspect. As for the comfort, we've driven about 5 hours today, and it has been really good. The seats are definitely not the softest. They do have a level of stiffness to them, but generally speaking, the ergonomics are very well dialed in. And I don't find that there's a lot of like blind spots on a truck like this. It is just like that perfect size. And even though it does look like a large vehicle, I think it's still very well balanced and well proportioned, both in terms of the handling, but also in the visuals and just being able to drive around town and park it. It's been honestly really nice. Aside from having to find a charger, which is something that I'm still trying to get used to, if I was to go on a very long road trip, this is just a very enjoyable vehicle. Whether you go with the R1S or the R1T, you're definitely going to love it, and I think it has a good balance of tech as well. The UI for a company that is still relatively new is quite impressive. It has been well thought out. Certain functions are a little bit hard to find in the beginning, but it hasn't been overcomplicated, and there isn't anything in the software that I would say I look at and am like, I really don't know where this is, or it doesn't make sense at all. But generally speaking, it's been pretty well done. But one of the big complaints I have is the fact that it doesn't have compatibility with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. So now let's talk about the interior of the R1T. And this is honestly one of my favorite features of the car because I think it is so well designed in many ways. I would say that it is very well optimized. It isn't the most elegant, and it also isn't too simplistic, but paired with the EUI system, which we're going to talk a bit about later, I really like what they've done here. First off, it's the colors. You can go between like a white, a black, a blue, as well as an olive green. And I personally love the olive green configuration, but this gray and light color here also looks really good. It's not traditionally what I would go with if I was speccing out a vehicle, but I think it looks awesome. And paired with this dark ash wood and the Rivian logo, it just has a very good level of simplicity, but also durability. I also love the seat details. You have the Rivian logo, a very comfortable seat that still holds you in. And along the perforations, there's also small stitching details, and you also have heated and ventilated seats. As for storage, you have plenty of it. Not only do you have the side storage and also the top storage here, but I also like the spot here that allows you to put your keys, your wallet, and lean your phone up against this little ledge. The speaker that we talked about is built in right here. That is your portable Bluetooth speaker, but this well in the middle also remains quite open. But there's also one additional spot where you can store some stuff, and that is underneath your seat. So even though the R1T specifically already has the truck bed, the addition of the frunk and the sides, having all these small accessory compartments while staying open in a lot of areas is very important. And of course, this screen here is just that perfect size. You have the entire UI system that gives you control to the temperature. I would like to see a little bit more analog integration, but the fully touchscreen experience actually works quite well. And from my experience, I didn't notice any major glitches when trying to navigate everything. And you have your navigation, your music, as well as your driving modes. When it comes to the driving modes, you have your on-road, which gives you 4 different options of all-purpose, conserve, sport, and also snow mode. And in the off-road mode, you have an additional 5 driving modes in this quad motor spec, including all-terrain, rock crawl, soft sand, rally, and drift. And even though you're not going to use most of these modes, to be totally honest, it's just awesome to have all these different options. And with the all-electric drivetrain, the vehicle is able to adapt to all these different features, and adjusting between the stability control, brake regen, ride feel, and also the ride height, you're able to achieve the curated driving mode that you go ahead and select. As for the passenger seats in the back, there's a decent amount of space. It's definitely not the largest truck cabin I've seen, because this truck has the 4.5-foot truck bed and a standard rear row. But I love the features of the charging port that is found on the top portion of the back of headrest, and also small details such as the yellow accents along the headrest of the front seats. I just think this interior is very well designed. It is beautiful and has a good element of luxury, sport, and also a rugged, like off-road vibe, and it's going to suit a lot of demographics out there. I mean, even the steering wheel has a bit of that flat bottom look to it. And this is all brought together with the Meridian speaker sound experience that sounds really awesome. You have these speakers on the front here along with on the sides, but also that portable speaker that we talked about. And another small tech accent that I was introduced to is that there's actually a flashlight that is built into the side of the door, kind of like the umbrellas that you find in certain cars. But just go ahead and pop that open and you have a utility flashlight that charges itself just like the speaker when you place it back in its custom dock. So from an interior standpoint, I really don't have any complaints. It isn't too complicated. It also isn't too simple. Everything is where it needs to be, but it also has some clever touches that have been integrated in as many ways as possible. But when it comes to summing up my driving experience, what do I think of the Rivian R1T? For a vehicle that is relatively new and a newcomer in the industry, it is honestly very impressive. The engineering that goes into building a car from the ground up and the software elements and everything really aren't easy. And I think a lot of times whenever a newcomer is entering an industry where there's a lot of experienced automakers already, you don't really give it the benefit of the doubt. And as a consumer paying a lot of money for a car, you really shouldn't. And in this case, I think for the price that is offered at and the offerings, it is a really unique experience. The Ford F-150 Lightning is a very compelling option as well, but I think for anybody who has like a Tesla and is looking for that taste of vehicle, Rivian has built that ecosystem already within their vehicles just through the accessories, the software, and I think the driving experience and the tech is able to live up to that. When it comes to build quality, there are a few things that I noticed here and there, and the customer service has been really good from what I've heard. So I think if you're looking for a truck, this is a really good option. And as someone who has not a lot of experience in driving trucks, I've really enjoyed my time with it so far.